So are you saying that we cannot change other people? If people don't value us, if they don't treat us in an appropriate way that we feel, or they don't have it in them to be nice back to us, that we can't expect them to change, but we have to change our expectation of that person and maybe not include that person in our life if we don't feel that they will ever see the value of me as a human being.
Very good question, Suzanne. So, short answer is no, I'm not saying that at all. And that is the reason I gave that example of being in extreme, whether we give up or don't give up, or we give up too soon. So, all the things that you mentioned about people not having in them or not, we are not able to change, those are for people who are not able to see the value. They are people, they would be a different level of, say, non-understanding or ignorance or lack of appreciation. When we say lack of appreciation, it's not just one thing we put in one category, but lack of appreciation itself is quite huge. It is from this side to this side. Uh, the lack, whether it's a more lack or less lack, right? Someone understanding you, appreciating you versus not appreciating you could be different. Someone may be completely oblivious to your personality. Someone may notice but may have a personality to not out. So different people will act differently. What I'm trying to say is when we work towards people, when we start to think about people, first, it is not always a good practice to give our key to someone else, our own happiness, our own bliss or pleasure to someone else. And then if this person is not using or not utilizing the key, or they are opening without our permission or not keeping the key secured. One thing that we have to understand is we should not depend on others for our own happiness. And again, with that, I'm not saying that we should um, not worry about people, or we should not try to change them, or we should give up very soon. I'm not saying that, but hear me out. We have to start with the very basic understanding and awareness that our happiness lies in our own hands. We should not be happy or sad because of someone. The degree of happiness can vary, of course, because we all are at different level of awakening and awareness. After that, what we are doing once we do that, basically, when we are not giving key to someone else, we depend on our own self for happiness. When it comes to people around us, we don't have to give them. At times we can't really give up on them, even if they don't understand that, or they don't have it in them. Like if it is someone, a spouse, and we are like, say, 60 or 70 or 80 or whatever, We just can't leave a person because the person is negative. We all are negative in certain way. Or when it comes to our parents, we are very quick to say, oh, they've become old now, they don't understand, we don't uh, our mentality or mindset don't work or match. Basically, it's very easy to find differences, and at times we are culprit of doing that too often, too quickly. So when I say move on, or they don't have it in them, it is for people, it is not for everyone. Again, we have to treat each person differently. We have to look at circumstances, situations differently. Not not one hat fits everyone, not one shoe will fit everyone. Similarly, just saying do not have or just move on will not work for everyone. There are people who don't need as much work changing, but there are people who need a lot of work changing. And that is why I said everything can happen. You can change the people, but are you ready to pay that price? Do you have it in you to make that change happen? Are you ready to undergo that pain and suffering before that change comes? So that is one aspect we have to look at. The other aspect is you may really not be able to change the person if they are gone that far, or they are too important in your life. It is your duty to take care of them. In no way I will say you leave them, but rather develop those practices not to get impacted by their negativity or lack of understanding or reciprocation. And addressing whether we can change our people or not, we can. We can to a great degree. Can we guarantee every change? No, not everything is in our control. But we can change. We can change people in different aspect. So one way is we approach it directly, right? And I'll talk about it briefly. We change people by directly changing their habits. Oh, this is not right. This is right. You should do this. You should not do this, or whatever. There's a soft approach as well, which is direct. If you look at from my perspective, spiritual perspective, if you give them positive energy, even without talking to them, that is, and you'll see that work like wonder. Many times we feel, because we live in this scientific, or I don't know, not in the world where we don't have complete information. We lack information because we have not evolved as much, or we have not invented as much. We have developed such practices where we think if you need to change a person, you need to go and talk to the person. And when we are talking about the energies, reaching out to people without phone, without language, right? Because we all know we can communicate without languages as well. I find that is the direct universal approach. This is how the universe is made. Language is something that we developed as a species. Culture is something that we developed. Society is something that we developed. These approaches are something that we developed as human beings based on our understanding. But those energies, those vibrations, those frequencies are natural. So for me, they are more direct way of changing someone. You meditate, you send your positive energy, you visualize, you put law of attraction to your work. But at the same time, do not be attached with the outcome. Because when we attach with the outcome, we start to think of a outcome as per the way we think. or as per the timeline that we have. And even though things happen, we do not either acknowledge or appreciate them because they are not happening the way we wanted. Things can happen differently. But getting back to the core of what we were discussing, we don't have to give up on people. We have to see each person differently. If there are people who we cannot get rid of, we don't have to get rid of. Of course, I'm not saying get rid of people. But at the same time, it is really important for us to identify those people who are causing problems in our life and we are repeatedly being troubled by them. That doesn't mean that if you are with someone, you really got married, recently got married to someone, or are married to a person for 5, 10 years, and the person is actually creating havoc in your life or causing a lot of problem for you mentally, physically, whatever, and you stay with them, stay with that person. I really cannot suggest that. And why do you want to do that? That's one thing. We have to also understand why we are looking to change someone. That's another fascinating topic. Why do you want someone to change? Because we think the person should be in a different way or in a way, or we don't want to encounter certain kind of feelings or emotions. And if everyone starts changing everyone, imagine what kind of world it will become. So I will say, see who that person is. Before giving up, try. But no, there's a price we have to pay for everything. Are you ready to pay for that price? Then move ahead. If you're not ready to pay that price, then step aside. But consider who you're talking about. If it is parent, I will not advise anyone to step aside. I will say develop those practice not to get impacted. We are raised by them. They gave us everything that we have, whether we appreciate or not. And it's our time to give them back. If it is our spouses that are there for like 25, 30, 40 years, but then if they have given quite a lot, it's probably our time. We can't just expect to get only good things from life, from people. It's a world where there's day and there's a night. There's light, there's darkness. There's pleasure, there's sadness, there's suffering. We can't get rid of that. We can be prepared for that. We can be better prepared for that. We can learn to accept. It's like our own old civilizations. Um, when they encountered nights, they thought God is angry on them because sun has set. There's darkness, and the earth that we stay on or live on, most of the life becomes active after sunset in darkness. Basically, I think scientifically they put that data around 70%, 60 something odd percent of life become active in the night. So they thought uh, God is angry. They have done something wrong. And they would try to find something that they did. Even though they did the right thing, they'll stop doing that because they thought because of this, sun is setting. And you would read about that in the history books as well. Probably you'll laugh on some of those details. Initially, we used to think Earth, the sun is uh, taking circle around Earth until only two to, I think 400 years ago, Galileo found otherwise. So it could be lack of understanding as well. It could be we expecting something that we should not be expecting in the first place itself, like suffering. I can tell you one thing. There's, and this may sound like a pessimistic answers to people. There's no end to suffering. Suffering will survive as long as pleasure is surviving. They go hand in hand. But is there a place where we cannot suffer? Yes, if we learn not to identify with suffering, if we learn to accept. What is suffering, by the way? Let me just go one more level deeper and very briefly, will not go too much in detail. But what is suffering? Isn't it different for different people, different age group, different social status, economical status, religious status, spiritual status? The very same thing that we call suffering may not be suffering for someone else in this very own world where you are right now. I bet you there'll be at least a million people will happily trade their lives with you because they lack what you have and they don't. I mean, of course, they lack what you have. For them, it is happiness. It will end living. The very people we look at for happiness, or we have some idea of happiness, they have their some own suffering. So suffering will not go away. Our expectation can. Our acceptance can. We can choose not to suffer. But getting back to the simple question that you asked, Suzanne, do not give up on people easily. Do not give up on certain people, certain criteria, certain kind of people that I defined, uh, just because they are negative. For some, you need to see whether you have it in you to make that change. You want to go through that suffering, or you want to continue to go through that suffering. If not, then move on. But also remember, also know that we can bring some change. We can make change to people. We can use our positive energy to bring changes to people's lives as well. We can change the way people think. But your positive energy, your supply of positivity should be stronger and more in quantity than the other person. If you yourself are struggling, you will not be able to give. Just thinking does not make things change. If we say, "Oh, I'm giving positivity," I keep repeating, "I'm giving positivity. I'm giving positivity to this person." It's not gonna give positivity to this person unless you really feel, unless your feelings, your emotions are in alignment with what you're saying. At times, our concentration is so scattered, we can't concentrate, right? Even though we are saying, "Oh, I'm not, I'm sending positivity," then there would be some thought in our mind. Maybe, are you positive? Oh, you know what? I have to do this. I have to do that. Maybe I'm sending this, but I don't know it will work or not. There would be so many things coming. And what are we sending in that case? How do we know we are sending the thing that we are saying? Because we thought language is a medium. It is not. It's not what you say, it's what you feel. I can say the same thing with different feeling. Each time it will mean differently. You all know that. right? We can be sarcastic, saying something, it will be indifferent. So is language the carrier? No, language is not the carrier. So similarly, when you are trying to change people, visualization using some law of attraction technique of 55 by 5, or writing a journal, or visualizing, or creating your vision board, it is your inherent feelings, emotions that will be communicated across. So I know I have deviated quite a lot, but I'm trying to come to same understanding, because everything is not a simple one-liner explanation for anything. We have to see there are so many factors that are at play, and that is why, rather than just giving one-line answer, I try to delve into many aspects, because there's so many different factors, and that is why I say, if someone asks law of attraction, does law of attraction, I would say yes, one line answer. But then I have to say that there are other factors as well. Not everything is in our control. There are things we don't control. Just because there are things we don't control, does it mean law of attraction does not work? No. It's wrong answer in that case. And just because we have things out of our control means law of attraction does not work. It's again a wrong answer. So we have to look at each situation differently. We have to look at complete comprehensive understanding, and that is something we have to apply for people then when we are talking about getting impacted by them, moving on from them, continuing to stay with them, developing practices or habits so that we don't get impacted, or continue to work on them to make this. Apologies for such a long response, Suzanne, but I hope that answers what you were looking for.
Because, as always, I enjoy your insight. It spans my mind in many different ways. So I'm grateful to have you to share your opinions. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Suzanne.